Hello, everyone. This is another TV Party Tonight Extra. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And I am joined by the host of the Screaming Boy podcast, Mr. Ronnie Adams. Say hello to the people, Ronnie Adams.
Hello to the people, Ronnie
Hello.
Adams.
Indeed. Tonight, we had such fun doing a audio commentary for Superman Doomsday that we thought we'd do it again this time because I happened to notice that Hulu has a whole bunch of canon action movies that have been added, one of which is one of the greatest movies of all time. It came out in 1987 on a budget of $25 million. Over the Top, starring Sylvester Stallone as a long-haul truck driver who arm wrestles for the love of his son and custody. It's like, what a concept. I wish I had been at the pitch meeting for this. This truly is just a hidden gem in one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. But we are not alone, because you can't do a totally 80s action movie without Mr. Toxic Masculinity himself, the punchy pugilist, totally 80s, Pat Mullin. How do you do, sir?
I want to slap some commies because this is the greatest podcast we've ever done.
I totally thought you were going to go with the Jesse Ventura Predator line there, but that's quite all right. What about you, Ronnie? What do you think of Over the Top? Because when I mentioned about doing this, you Alexa practically threw your pants at me.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
And she had something to say about it too. It is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. I'll be honest with you. I absolutely adore Over the Top.
We were talking off air about how I've been spreading the word about Over the Top. I told my wife about it. She just told her best friend. I've been telling people at work. It is a rare bird indeed who still remembers this movie. So I feel like we're doing the world a public service. The Radulich Broadcasting Network is bringing back a part of cultural Americana it should have never have lost in the first place. Wouldn't you say?
Amen.
All right.
The reason this movie's forgotten is why we have so many pussies in the world.
That's right. That's why we have so many problems, I'll tell you that much. All right, so I've got it on Hulu. Jesse, Ronnie, what do you got it on? Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime, baby.
As do I, Ronnie.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and we'll sync it up and let's go. Let's get this party started.
Wait. Are we going to do 3, 2, 1 or 3, 2, 1, go?
3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, press play. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, press play. And we are rolling down the river. So I've got my TV muted, but the closed captioning on the first thing it says is upbeat music.
Yeah.
Gosh, this whole beginning, it just screams 80s. It's a trucker movie and an arm wrestling movie, but they're showing majestic snow-capped mountains.
So, this is a canon. This is a canon feature, isn't it?
It is a canon feature. The song is "In This Country" by Robin Zander. If you want to listen to it, Robin Zander of Cheap Trick.
And this is why I love you, Pat.
I mean, it's Cheap Trick. You can't go wrong.
No, you
We
can't.
would have known that.
We've got Stallone in his full-on trucker mode with 5 o'clock shadow, long-haul rig, driving this picturesque countryside.
What's he hauling?
Looks like agricultural equipment.
Yeah.
It does not matter.
So it's a. Well, for a little while there, I actually drove a truck. So I actually drove an 18-wheeler for a while. Yes, he looks like he's actually driving a flatbed, which is carrying some farm equipment.
My dad drove a coal truck for a while. That has nothing to do with me or your story of driving an 18-wheeler. But
yeah, my dad didn't drive because he would have had to stop drinking.
Pat, how much do you remember them talking about Over the Top in the the Canon feature documentary that was on Netflix there for a while.
Do you have the Stallone meeting booked? Yes, we have the Stallone meeting. Going to be very big. They showed literally the clips of Golan and Globus talking about the meeting with Stallone and how they were going to sign him to this extraordinary deal with money they didn't have.
Nice.
The sad truth about this movie, and I was just looking at it, is on the budget of $25 million, it only made $16 million. And I have to ask, America, what were you doing in 1987 that was so important that you didn't rush to the theaters like this was Star Wars? I mean, because I'm pretty sure I saw this in the theaters.
This was one of 3 films that really led to the end of canon films, unfortunately, along with 2 others that are near and dear to our hearts. One of them is Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
And the other would be Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
Well, that's near and dear to some people's hearts. I wouldn't necessarily say mine.
Superman 4 is definitely a hidden gem.
Better and we see how truck drivers are accustomed to showering, which means a bucket, a hose, a pull-away mirror.
Not anymore.
Don't ruin this, Ronnie.
My bad.
They use those trees for deodorant, those little trees you hang on the rear view mirror, and we see shots of young David Mendenhall, who was playing Sylvester Stallone's son at his military academy graduation day.
You know, I showed Melissa the trailer for this, and it's a lot of Michael being a pissy little shit. And I remember as a kid, you know, like if Sylvester Stallone was trying to win custody of me, I would have been a lot more appreciative. I'm just saying. He's a punk-ass little kid.
He is a punk-ass little kid to start, but at the same time, he's been manipulated by his grandfather into believing that, you know, his dad was a deadbeat who sold drugs and what have you.
Robert Loggia.
Yes. Listen,
God, we're not doing that.
I've never liked this kid. I've never liked him just because of a little punk he is throughout the whole movie. I don't care when he does if he did reconcile, not to, no spoilers, I still wouldn't like him. And I found out why. He actually voiced Daniel Witwicky in the Transformers the movie cartoon.
Yes, he did.
The little kid that I don't like in that movie.
He also is in a feature called Going Bananas with Dom DeLuise and J.J. Walker and a midget in a monkey suit.
I actually remember Going Bananas.
Wow.
Also, not surprisingly, financed by Canon Films. and we get our shot of the wildly out-of-place truck-driving Sylvester Stallone, known as Lincoln Hawk, being stared at by these upper crusty...
Greatest name.
In his button-up denim shirt. Oh, goodness gracious.
Being stalked at by these upper crusty wealth of society people. And we see it was directed by Menahem Golan of Canon Films.
They might have actually just shown a woman clutching her pearls.
And as Michael Cutler walks up to his limo and asks, "Is this the Michael Cutler limo?" Little shit. And he's told now by a fellow cadet that the colonel needs to see him. And he's just telling this adult, like, wait here, like, servants. God, this kid is so fucking hateable.
So I don't remember what happens next, but ostensibly he's going to go with Stallone. Is the limo driver still standing there, like, days later? It's like you never just waiting for the kid to come back.
There was actually a follow-up to this movie, Over the Top 2, the limo driver, and it's just 2 hours of him standing there.
Looking awfully worried.
That was a terrible salute, you little pissing.
I like how he's standing next to a hawk.
Yeah.
Like they can't have it just as his hawk ornament on the truck or written like he has to stand next to a statue of a hawk in the colonel's office.
That's what you call blocking and directing, my friends.
I don't have a father.
This is your father, Michael.
Listen, you little craphead. That man punched
Your mother has legal custody of you, cadet. She has said that you are to go with your father.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a little military kid, he's not, not following orders the way that he should.
You respect your father. He punched out Russia.
Stallone has this mastery over quietly mortified. Have you noticed that?
Yes, he does. I don't think it's acting. I just think that's what he looks like.
I haven't seen him make that face again since Copland, though.
Dude, Copland is so good.
It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Underrated.
So that's all the proof he needed, huh? Just here's a picture of me banging your mom. All right.
Well, this is the 80s. We didn't have Photoshop. We had to have side texting, and to do that, you required an actual company. And this deadbeat clearly can't afford that since he can't afford an actual shirt.
Are we going in this? Why can't we fly? Oh, God, if you were my kid, you'd be riding in the trunk. Yes, I said the trunk of an 18-wheeler. Figure it out.
I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to be that guy.
That's all right.
That's what it's for.
So he's already dropped off the farm equipment, and so he's got no trailer, which means he's bobcatting. By the way,
I just learned that.
Which is not particularly safe. Like, you shouldn't do it for for a long period of time.
And the tie's a clip-on.
Of course it is.
I would be disappointed if it wasn't.
So it looks like it's all pictures of his son in there, which, I've been inside some trucks. It's usually all pictures of naked women.
Yeah, but he's a morally upstanding good man.
That's true.
Left his family.
His name is Lincoln Hawk. God damn it. Coolest
Or
name.
Hawk, depending on who you talk to in this movie.
Coolest name in the history of movies.
God, I want to punch this kid right in the throat.
But here's the subtlety of Stallone's acting, because when Stallone does something good, it's always subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he goes over the top that we see some questionable moments of his acting. Like, the kid stops him and he's like, do you really think you can make up 10 years in, 3 days? And he goes, no. Like, all right, good. Yeah, that's a real answer.
We talked about this we're so excited for this movie, but as silly as it is, and I'll acknowledge that it's a silly concept, it's such a fun movie. And Stallone, for all the knocks that he receives, actually does a really good job in this. In that he's trying. I mean, it's a story about a father trying to bond with his son.
Yeah.
Listen, Lincoln Hawk. The world bet against Lincoln Hawk, but winners don't listen to the odds.
That's right.
That's what the trailer says. Yeah, I know the words to the trailer, guys. It's not like I'm a big fan of this movie.
So a lot of this movie is actually them, like bonding in the truck. It's for a movie about arm wrestling, it's strangely dialogue driven.
Well, have you ever seen a real arm wrestling match?
They're strangely dialogue driven.
Well, arm wrestling matches usually don't go beyond 45 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And here the kid tries to break out and escape and thinks it's the bright idea to do it on the highway.
How did this kid survive this movie?
Causes 2 accidents before Stallone grabs him. Here's my funny question: is they see this trucker going after this child,
right? Who just tackled him into the grass?
Yeah, that goes wildly out. He looks wildly out of place with this truck driver chasing him. Why does no one think this is a kidnapping?
Well,
because it was the 80s.
Well, no, not to bring it down, but we just had a mother here in Tampa drown her daughter, and people recorded it with their cell phones, all saying, "Why doesn't anyone stop her?" So,
that's hard.
I mean, 30 years have we really changed as a species? We're still willing to watch kids get murdered or kidnapped.
Who's that case that they always talk about where, like, instead of, like, helping when they heard this woman screaming, everybody shut their windows? It's like the first case in, like, law school or whatever. And we're introduced to Robert Loggia being flanked by Terry Funk.
Oh. The Funker.
Yeah, there he is in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I told you not to let that damn truck driver get a hold of that boy.
His mother's a whore.
She's a whore, Pritchard. And Robert Loggia just insults the colonel of the military academy for giving the kid away to this truck driver.
To his biological father.
Yeah, well, why would... Yeah.
Before we completely forget what we were talking about, I think the case, I can't remember her it's Genovese is the last name of the victim. And I think it is. I'm going by a movie, but it was one of those, it was talked about in Boondock Saints.
Okay. Yeah.
Nobody helped her. It was in New York.
Yes, where everybody shut their windows and pretended it wasn't going. And there's an advertisement for Brute, which I still use to this day.
That's because you're a real man.
That's right. There's only 3 acceptable male fragrances: Brute, Old Spice, and Aqua Velva.
I'll go along with that. Yeah, well.
And when you pass age 50, it's Canoe.
I want to say that like Rush Limbaugh once talked about there was a study done that said women actually prefer a man's natural scent. And he said something along the lines of, like, this is why the... did you see your cards?
Yeah, that's why I was coming up to give you a big hug and a kiss. I'd been on the phone with Sarah.
Okay, I gotta hug my wife. Hang on a second.
No problem.
Right, so while Mark does that, Stallone has brought young Michael Cutler into a regular truck stop bar that he frequents to grab some grub. And this is a rowdy truck stop if I've ever seen one.
Rowdy truck stop with some great 80s music.
Yeah, not the place I would bring a 10-year-old upper crusty weirdo kid who's now going to embarrass him in front of the wait staff.
Oh, see, I would totally bring my kid there to put some hair on his chest. My friend and I talked today about how fathers in the future will be bringing their sons to the robot brothel because they don't want their sons to get accused of being rapists.
Why don't they just do like, Gene Kiniski did to Kevin Von Erich and bring him to a whorehouse when he's 10?
Why don't they?
I don't know. Well,
anyway.
Here, if we don't got 80s, we got nothing, because there is a big old fella with a mean, peroxided up mullet and overalls and a sleeveless shirt to challenge Lincoln Hawk for an arm wrestling match.
Is that, what's his face? Magnum T.I.? Magnum P.I.?
T.A.?
Magnum T.A.
That is most assuredly not Magnum T.A.
It looks like Magnum T.A.
He looks like somebody.
Yeah, I think you're really looking for everything but Magnum T.A. there.
It looks like Dog the Bounty Hunter, maybe.
My wife even says that looks like somebody famous.
Yeah, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Okay, Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Maybe.
Anyway, what I was saying before my wife came out to hug me about the birthday card she got, was that Rush Limbaugh had read a study on his radio show about how women actually prefer the natural scent of men. That, all these guys that are into like manscaping and what's the other halfway gay term that that metrosexual guys actually don't get girls because as he put it in the show, he's like they'd rather have the cowboy that stinks.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Listen.
You honk that fucking horn up, break your head.
All right,
so we're getting up here for our first arm wrestling match.
In a neighborhood that you can do that.
I can do it in any damn neighborhood I please. I'm like Bull Hurley, who we see just walking in. And
see, when I was trying to get acting gigs in Hollywood, had I only been this guy's height, these are the parts I would have gotten. I look just like Bill Hurley.
Here's the thing, though.
Get our first taste of arm wrestling, fellas.
Here we go.
Flipping that cap around, baby.
Smasher. And this is already lasting longer than most arm wrestling matches do.
What drama! look at it.
And wait a second.
It's like a wrestling match. He's got to come. He's going
Stallone's arm.
He's going to come from. He's going to come from underneath babyface right here.
That technique is called top rolling. That is a legitimate arm wrestling technique called top rolling. Look at the pump on those arms. God damn, Stallone.
I arm wrestle with my 4-year-old son all the time, and I beat him each time.
You should be proud of that. It's going to teach him how to accept losing.
Well,
and he doesn't want to lose every time.
Well, you know what's funny? he said to me yesterday, he's like, "You're a bad daddy," and I was like, "Okay, why am I bad daddy?" He was like, "Because you won't let me win, you won't let me beat you up." And I said to him, "Jonas, I love you, and maybe someday, if you ever train hard enough and get big enough, maybe one day you're gonna beat me. But for right now, I'm bigger and stronger than you. I'm gonna beat your ass every time. You want to win?
And then
you have to."
Punched him in the arm.
I punched him right in the gut. I said, you have to earn your wins. No one's going to give you anything for free. Now, good night, asshole.
Good man.
And now Bull Hurley laying down the law to let you know he's the bad guy in the movie, in one sense, where he tries to go double or nothing with Stallone in an arm wrestling match right after that one, and Stallone's telling him, well, let's save it for Vegas. And he punks him out in front of the kid and everybody else.
Well, really, the real bad guy in this is Robert Loggia. I feel like Bill Hurley is more of an obstacle than he is the villain.
I feel like the kid is the real bad guy.
Thank you, Pat.
I'll go along with that.
You know, I got to go back to the whole Rush Limbaugh thing real quick. I don't think I could trust Rush Limbaugh in anything.
I was going to say, any advice about women ever given by him?
Yeah. Especially about grooming techniques, because he looks like he just would smell bad.
Yeah. He's
nothing...
like a step down from Don Imus.
Right.
All I can tell you is that whenever he reads something on the air, he usually references it. So he got it from somewhere. And he just read it on the air.
I think that was just to make himself feel better, because he never passed as metrosexual.
Well, I think... Well, clearly he has an agenda against people who are metrosexual. Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. That's the way it should be, but...
So here we have the kid. He's trying to call his mother, say, "Get me out of this this pickle." And she was like, "Stop being a little fag, kid. Have fun with your dad."
Good Lord.
More it's like, I'm dying, Michael, and I think you should actually know a parent.
Yeah, that too.
Played by Susan Blakely of Rich Man, Poor Man, and My Mom is a Werewolf fame.
I don't think I've ever seen either one. Oh, he's got a new trailer.
And they argue over a great song called Big Trouble, called All I Need Is You by Big Trouble.
You know, I feel like I know a lot of movie trivia, but then I talk to Pat, and I'm ashamed.
So, Pat, before these movies leave Hulu, you know what else we have to do a commentary over? Bloodsport. Bloodsport.
It's also available on Prime, not just Hulu.
Okay. So
and I own most of these movies anyway, so we're good.
We have a growing list of movies we have to do commentaries over in the near future. We got Master of the Universe and now Bloodsport.
Yeah, we'll put a poll up too. And basically what we've got is now Stallone's kind of at the point where, you know what, I've been the nice guy and I'm getting real, real tired of this little shit giving me attitude.
As he should be. You shouldn't tolerate shit from your kids.
You should. And now he's asking him how he liked the arm wrestling match.
And the kid said, "It's an experience."
You know what else is an experience? Catching 5 across the eyes. Little piece
All
of
I
shit.
need is you. It's a very picturesque movie.
Yeah, the landscapes are pretty beautiful. And now, Robert Loggia visiting his daughter. Like, how do you... God. How do you still tolerate this guy? If he broke up your marriage and is the reason your son hasn't seen his father for like a decade.
Did they ever say exactly what he did to break up the marriage? Like, what specifically he did?
Here's the only things you get. You get that he hated him from the start.
Right.
He told Michael that he was dealing drugs.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can only imagine that he actually probably did plant drugs on him in the trailer and got him locked up.
I have been his father for 12 years. God, this has like a Chinatown vibe to it. Not in a good way.
Yeah.
Glad Ronnie got that.
Yeah. Chinatown, Jake.
There's Terry Funk getting a drink of water.
It's the simple things that the funker loves.
Well, what's cool though is this established the relation. This is part of the established relationship between the Funker and Stallone that goes back to Paradise Alley, where Terry basically didn't ever have to wrestle unless he wanted to again because Stallone used him to choreograph fight scenes in his movies.
Mm-hmm.
So how many movies of Stallone's did Funker work on?
Paradise Alley. He did some stunts in Rocky 4 and 5 and choreographed the alley fight in 5. He's in this. I'm pretty sure he has something to do with Tango and Cash.
He was in Roadhouse.
Was he really? God,
Yes.
it's been so long since I've seen Roadhouse.
Yeah, he's one of the bad guys.
So now the kid's softening up to Lincoln here. You know, they're saying, hey, we're going to, we got to
Spend the night
rest.
in the trailer.
Yep, I'm going to spend the night in the trailer. It's like, all right, if you can do it, I can do it. See, we're, 20, 30 minutes into this now, and the kid's like, you're not the worst.
And Stallone being, dad who wants to just love his son. If you want, you can sleep here on my shoulder.
You can't push him too much there, Lincoln. You got, put it out there, but let him come to you. Don't want to push the kid away.
But, the longest I ever went without seeing my dad was probably about a year. But, I also, had enough good memories at that point where I wasn't F this guy, I don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
That wasn't till, college.
I've always had my dad. My dad was busy when I was really young. He was in grad school. He worked, and he was in the Army Reserves. So he wasn't around as much as I would have liked.
My dad was around more than I would have liked.
But I always got along with my dad. We had our ups and downs, but he was definitely the preferred parent.
Ronnie, any dad issues?
No, he was a coal truck driver for the longest time. But so he was working a lot, but after a while he took a job as a car salesman. So he still worked a lot of hours, but he was there a little more, and but we always got along. He was a good dad, but even now, since he's retired and everything, and I talk to him just about every day. We live about 5-6 hours away from each other. So
He's still in West Virginia.
Yeah, he and Mom still live there.
I instantly asked regretting you about asking that because it's just boring. I thought you were going to tell me something cool.
Maybe.
Well, shut up.
Sorry. You know what? I think what Pat was trying to set you up for was my dad's dead, and that would make you get Gavin and Chris, West Virginia thing. All right, so what we just missed was a bonding moment between the son and Lincoln as they were getting up at the crack of dawn and exercising together, and he's now taking the other sleeve off the coat, made him look kind of cool. So
not really.
He looks like he's in front of punk band.
Yeah.
The kid does. You could. No,
I obsessed over this as a kid. You see, he's got the weight thing in there. I remember actually driving a truck and going okay, I need I need weights in here.
So one arm could be visibly bigger than the other.
Yeah, like Homer Simpson when he got the dumbbell.
Right.
Yeah. And now the kid gets pissy again because he's trying to teach him how to do it. And the kid's now going to tell him he's an idiot because he just drives a truck all day and doesn't read.
You don't read much, do you? You're just simply on a different social scale. Again, you'd end up in the trunk.
Gosh, I'd punch that kid right in the teeth.
Man, look at the triceps. Stallone is popping some triceps in this man. Damn.
Okay, so we're watching this, right? And framed up, Stallone just looks like a monster. Isn't he 5'6"?
Yeah.
He's 5'7", probably about 165 pounds.
But he's cut from daggone steel.
Yeah.
Still at 75 years old, he still looks like
He still does workouts that none of us could do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, the magic of Hollywood is that they've always made someone look so much bigger than he really is. It isn't until you see him with guys like Hulk Hogan, and some others where you're like, oh wait, he's not as tall as I thought he was.
This is one of my favorite parts of the movie though, because the kid's like, "You're aggravated, aren't you?" And he's like, "Boy, I passed an aggravation a half a mile back." And now he's going to challenge him to be able to drive the truck since he's so intellectually intuitive and great that clearly if I can drive this truck, it should be no problem for you. That shirt is entirely too small on Stallone.
Says you. Wait a minute, that sounded...
Gay. So he still hasn't figured out how to turn this truck on.
Where's the button?
Like his sleeves don't even come past his shoulders.
I have shirts like that, but that's just because I gained enough weight where they didn't fit right.
Yeah, I think the suspenders here are a little bit of a gimmick to enhance that.
So here's the thing. Again,
I'm pretty sure he doesn't need suspenders for his jeans.
I have driven a truck, and I have driven a truck that was a stick. It's fucking hard, and I would not trust it to this kid.
So, Mark, you think that it's impossible for this 10-year-old to accurately, not dangerously drive a truck?
Well, I figure it's one thing if you're just practicing out on the farm. It is a whole other kettle of fish when that's your job and you've got to get that freight to a place. And those things are not easy to control.
And there's like 18 power lines to your right.
You all are acting like this wouldn't really happen.
I know. What's wrong with us? Like, clearly this is a normal part of life.
Yeah. First time
I
I ever
remember asking my dad to drive his coal truck, and he laughed at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad let me drive a forklift. But again, my dad wasn't exactly the best example of fatherhood. Because I was like 7 at the time.
Did you ever have to drive your dad home from the bar at 7 years old?
No, we didn't have a car, so there was that.
Gotcha.
And now the kid has finally apparently figured out how to keep the wheel straight. And now it's created a wonderful father-son bonding moment again, as this seemingly dim-witted truck driver outsmarts this well-educated youth.
I have to say though, the kid's got good screen presence. I mean, I know all us surly toxic men want to punch him in his fucking face, but I mean, objectively speaking, he has good screen presence.
And we're actually supposed to want to punch him in the face at points, so that's fine. I mean, I just want to hit kids in general anyway, so I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, Pat, if you ever feel the need to hit a kid, you can always hit one. You can always hit one of mine, preferably my son. My daughter's such a sweetie. I really don't want you hitting her. My son, however,
that's why you had to, Mark.
That's right. My son, you can throw around all you want. The best was the other day. He was running, ramming himself between me and my father, and he hit my dad so hard he actually bounced off him, went sideways into the wall, and fell down.
That's awesome.
like he fucking Ric Flair bumped off my dad.
You should probably have him checked out if he's a little downsy.
Pat, no.
I'm just saying that's not really normal.
All right, so this kid looks like he's somebody. Like, this is 1987. Who did he grow up to be?
I'm thinking the guy who drives the truck now.
I've seen that kid in other things.
Have you? Maybe a Clearasil commercial?
Maybe. He just looks awfully familiar.
I don't think I've seen that kid in anything else. The one kid to his immediate left looks like the prison guard in Diggstown.
A little bit.
I know it's not him, but it looks like it could be his son. I just watched that last night, so that was a good frame of reference. And we've got now Stallone trying to have his son outmuscle this fairly cut-up punk in an arcade and truck stop in a 2 out of 3 falls arm wrestling challenge. And David Mendenhall is very easily getting put down in this first fall. And in the accurate representation of what this kid would really do, he runs off crying.
Right. Yeah, I remember this.
Like
this ends badly.
I mean, define badly.
I remember him running off. I don't remember what happens next, though.
Okay, then you don't know what badly is. And now we get this tearful plea thinking that the kid, and it's not crazy to think this based on how the kid's grown up, that he thinks that Stallone set him up to fail and is trying to make him a loser because he's a loser, and, he wants to humble him a little bit, which may be not out of the question. And now Stallone gives the fourth line of "the world meets nobody halfway," which is nonsense and literally only put into the dialogue because it's the song Kenny Loggins sings in the movie.
How many movies is Stallone in where he's talking to his son and giving him like an inspirational talk? Because there's Rocky Balboa, and I feel like there's more.
Rocky V.
Yeah.
Stallone. Does he have a kid? Daylight.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just the one from Rocky V.
Stop or my mom will shoot.
No, that's Sophia from the Golden Girls giving him.
Oh, I thought that was a little boy.
That's good.
No, that's Cop and a Half with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. That kid nothing like Burt Reynolds.
Yeah. And now we're back for fall number 2.
And the kids are still right there.
What kid goes out looking like that?
I used to have a denim vest like that when I was a kid.
That you wore with no shirt underneath?
No, I was
one glove?
No, I was a fat kid. I wasn't going out without a shirt.
Man, this kid has some bad acne.
I feel like the one kid to his right isn't really a child so much as he's a midget.
I mean, that would explain his presence in the movie Diggstown.
It would. I mean,
and
that kid's kind of, ripped.
That's what. Yeah, it's like I can get Stallone winning some arm wrestling matches because at least he's cut to shreds and has a good pump. David Mendenhall is just a real skinny kid.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you can beat this kid. You're twice as strong as him. Like, well, no, not really.
But if you look at the Ratch, he uses that top roll technique. And he does it. It's all about the top roll, guys. There's hooks and there's top rolls when it comes to arm wrestling.
So what's the difference? Talk about that.
Okay. A hook is a real power move where when you initially lock up and the match is on, the hook is really just relying on the strength in your forearm and your lower tricep to propel your arm inward to you and to put that hammer down on a guy. The hook is really designed for like a quick, gotta get him fast, and then use your body to pin him down type thing. The top roll is really to get advantageous gripping, because if you're able to grip your fingers over the top of his fingers, get it?
Yeah, over the top.
Yeah.
You have a better hand position to work off of, and the tendons in your hands are like twice as strong as theirs because of the positioning. And when you're able to win the hand battle, logically you should be able to win the forearm battle at that point to put the hand down.
With the passion that you're talking about, arm wrestling, and there's nothing, I'm not, I think that's amazing. I feel like you would be awesome to watch these Russian slap contests with, because I feel like you would see the technique in those as well. With me, it's just like whoever is stronger is going to put their fist, put the other's arm through the table. But there is more of a technique to it than what I think.
And little schmuck is walking around with his sleeves folded up, flexing muscles that aren't there. And he gets what he deserves right here.
Yes. This is where he's kidnapped.
Yep.
Yoink.
While Father of the Year for the past decade ignored it and let the guys grab him.
There he goes.
And it's a 4-man operation, 2 to grab the kid and 2 to go after Stallone. You think maybe they could have spared 1 extra guy to go after Stallone? And not needed 2 on the kid, 1 on Stallone?
Well, I just feel like, grabbing the kid and running like that's very traumatic for the child. I mean, the grandfather doesn't seem to realize the damage that he's causing. This is no way to treat your grandchild.
I doesn't really love the grandchild.
I think he does. I think love is forcible custody by means of kidnapping and traumatizing.
When did they drop off the trailer?
That was
I think those young punks stole it.
I mean, they felt they weren't manly enough because they lost that arm wrestling match, so they needed some brute.
Stole an entire trailer of brute.
I would. I use brute. And now Stallone somehow is able to catch them, fly into them, stop them.
So what do you?
They abandoned ship.
What do you think the writers' room was like for this movie? Like, they're writing this really, heartwarming story of a father trying to get to know his son and all that.
I picture Menahem Golan kicking the door in. What are you doing? We need more action beats. We have to sell this movie.
It's right. They're like, all right, well, I guess we'll throw a car chase in there. Could you imagine if they...
Crazy little Israeli man.
Dude, I was just thinking, like, if they remade Over the Top today, that car chase scene would be 20 minutes long.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's why you can't touch this movie.
It would probably... It would also involve ghosts with dreadlocks.
And it would be about a mother arm wrestling for the sake of her child against men and beating them.
Yes, we need to... this needs to happen. Over the Top, starring Charlize Theron.
I swear to God, I would murder everybody involved in that.
The villain in the movie is Sandra Bullock.
No,
the villain would be Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, no, the villain would be Sylvester Stallone just to screw with me entirely. Like, he'd agree to this and be like, this is a great idea. You're going to empower women across the nation. They're going to see great things happen.
Maybe it'll be Ronda Rousey with her Legion of Doom makeup.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Majin Buu, yeah.
Majin Buu. I don't even watch Dragon Ball Z, and I know what that is.
She's had 2 looks. She's had Majin Buu and she's had Draws.
Oh, my gosh.
My problem is she doesn't look like Draws does now.
Oh,
leave Rhonda alone.
Leave Draws alone.
That was a compliment to Draws. I would rather see her look like that than Draws. And now we're seeing these heartwarming, touching, bonding moments after he's saved him from a kidnapping. And they skip over like that awkward conversation of, Dad, why do you think those guys tried to grab me? like not just like you can't say, well, it was your grandfather, because then you escalate the family feud. You can't be like, well, they were probably going to sell you for sex slavery, because that just traumatizes the kid further. Like, where do you go from there?
You little white boy would be oodles and oodles of dollars on the black market.
That's like
I'm sorry. Right after he said that, Stallone said, "Yeah, you're going to be a great one."
This turns into a remake of The Children of Times Square instead of Over the Top.
Oh my God,
Michael! The reason why those is there's Arabs across the sea that want to fuck your face. Oh my goodness!
And now they're dressed in their best attire.
Over the top,
Michael in his uniform, and Stallone in a shirt that is not made out of denim for once.
I was going to say, Stallone's look in this movie is like chimney smoke.
Made out of burlap.
Some people shop at Old Navy. He hit Salvation Army. It's fine. And now we're getting to the meat and bones where he's asking to see his wife, and what's the problem?
His wife has
Death?
died. Yes. Trying to find
Shit.
moments after I said Arabs want to fuck your face, I'm trying to find a nice way to put she died.
Just a
Yeah,
terminal
right.
case of death.
She's mostly dead.
She's only mostly dead. I always remember this guy because this guy sounds like such an old man. Mr. Hawks. And there's the news.
He sounds like he's 95 years old.
Yeah, maybe that's why she
Man,
died. You have a 95-year-old man performing heart surgery. That seems like a good idea.
Seems I
Scalpel.
went after her heart through her stomach.
Nurse scalpel. Her heart.
Now, why does the kid just run away like that's going to help?
I was gonna say, like, and we're due for another kid running away scene.
And why does he always go towards traffic and cars?
Because he's been chauffeured his whole life. So he doesn't
If
know
you
to
would
look
have
both
never
ways before
come
he
to
crosses.
pick me up, I would have seen her. I wouldn't be running around in that truck. You're an asshole,
Well-
kid.
While she was dying. While she was dying. You know what's dying?
This is a typical
He's
kid
trash.
lashing out for no good reason.
Why didn't you stop him
Mike,
from
that's
running
not a
to get
taxi.
gas, asshole?
Mike, you just got in somebody's car, Mike.
Mikey's wearing a
Mike.
trench coat. Mike.
Oh, and here he shows up to the funeral in his best Levi's.
And his burlap shirt.
I wonder if those are 501s. What I used to wear.
Bro, this is just Levi Strauss. Straight up. No 5. He doesn't need no fancy numbers.
He still got the clip on.
Same one.
And David Mendenhall still crying.
Anyone else feel like Brian Dennehy's going to show up after the scene and tell him start walking the other way?
That's
Wow.
where that leads into. Why are you pushing me? Why are you pushing me?
Make sure you get behind the ears.
Well, there's one thing you need. A good supply of body bags.
Oh my gosh, this kid crying just makes me. Oh.
I feel like this kid grew up to be Tully Blanchard because he kind of looks like him with the buck teeth, and he's just totally unlikable.
Wow.
I'm sitting on my couch watching this on the living room TV because if I tried to watch it on my computer, I'd be a half an hour behind. But I gotta look. I gotta look up this kid's credits and see what else he was in. See if his acting career went into adulthood.
And now,
Hey, listen.
this is the shot. The hawk in the background flying as Lincoln Hawk sits on his hawk hauling trailer. Now he's determined to do what a man would do. I know what I got to do.
Take a leak off the side of the trailer.
I got to get my kid back, and I know the only one way to do it. Illegally.
The way to my child's heart is through the gate.
Like, at what point does this seem like a good idea? I mean, like, yeah, it honestly is a really good idea because I would just encourage to do it, and I would want to do this myself if I had an 18-wheeler, just for the hell of it. But I also don't have a kid, and I wouldn't have to worry about going to jail in front of my kid. And here's a dude who looks like Dan Deerdorf.
Well, at least he's trying to get in the nice way first. He didn't just immediately like I would have skipped all this. I would have just assumed no one's letting me in, so I'll just ram the gate. At least
Here's where he probably should have read more books like Michael was talking about, because you would clearly understand that Robert Loggia thinks he's scum of the earth and not let him near the kid.
Yeah. Should it ever come to pass that that my wife leaves me and goes back to her parents and takes my kids, I guarantee they live in a gated community. I guarantee you, I'm driving right through that gate.
Oh, there we go. It's on record now, folks.
I don't give a shit. She's not leaving me. She loves me too much. And all my nonsense.
Yeah, so about that anyway.
Pat, you know where I'm taking my wife for our anniversary in 2 weeks?
Dollywood?
Close. Jimmy Hart's.
Wait, Jimmy Hart's Tiki Deck?
Yeah, Jimmy Hart's Hall of Fame bar and Tiki Deck with the taters and the NFL package.
Where we serve beer in the can because we don't need a liquor license. And in goes Stallone on the 18-wheeler.
There it is.
Instead of ramming the gate, he decides to destroy hundreds upon thousands of dollars worth of fountains and statues and ram the front doors down. Somehow he got the nose of that truck through the awning, hit the doors. Just
Dude,
for an episode.
this is how a man handles his problems, okay? Drive your car into the house.
And here's where Robert Loggia can call you a worthless bastard.
What the hell have you done? Well, you wouldn't let me in, asshole.
No, I did what any man would do. I drove my truck through your door.
Why is he not just going at Robert Loggia and grabbing the kid?
Right.
You went through a gate, an iron gate, and a door, and all. You won't go through a 75-year-old man.
See, this is one of those pro wrestling things that drives me nuts, where it's like a guy's going off at another wrestler. There's nothing between them. Why don't you just charge the wrestler? And finally he does, and he's immediately jumped on by Terry Funk. You had the advantage.
Like Robert Loggia.
No, grandfather.
Don't pull his hair. That's just cheap shit right there.
We're just going, Mike. And the kid just sits there crying again. Oh, look, he's crying.
I don't understand why you arrested me.
I thought this was America. I thought this was America.
My name's Lincoln Hawk. I can drive a truck into a house if I want. America.
America.
My question is, do they have cops specifically who know how to drive 18-wheelers to impound that?
They would be calling a tow truck, sir.
But you can't, like, tow that like a regular truck.
You can tow it, though. You could get towed on a flatbed.
Seems like a lot, and they're going to have to pay for it. Wouldn't it just be easier to, like, train cops to have CDLs?
You know, I think we should work on getting cops to not... never mind.
That's right, never mind.
Easy.
I think we're doing just fine, thank you very much.
I don't know what I was talking about. No loud talking, that's what I was saying.
Do you think when they went out for a casting call, like for the guys in the jail cell with them, they were like, nobody over 5'6"?
Yeah,
So it didn't mean the parent,
these
like,
were
he didn't belong?
These are all relatives of the midgets from the Wizard of Oz.
It makes the casting for Lockup even more impressive.
Yeah, that's true. I just, like, did they have special shoes for him? Like, boxes with ropes on them so he could, you know...
He's walking around on stilts.
Just, like, short round, you know, and...
So the lawyer has come to visit him.
Like, give up your rights to custody, and we're not going to press charges, and you can even have your stupid truck back, dumb.
We'll drop the attempted murder charge. Here's the problem: Robert
We'll have
Loggia
to pay back $6 million in damage you caused.
Robert Loggia can drop all the charges he wants. There's no way the state drops this charge.
Right.
But wouldn't they know? Because it's private property. Like,
again, if the state's got a case against you, it doesn't matter if the victim doesn't care and wants to drop the charge. They will still prosecute.
well, we got to figure out what state we're in, because I'm not sure if we're in California or we're in Colorado or we're somewhere in the American Southwest.
I believe they're in
They just
California.
don't care.
And here we go. Here's this little shit not crying for once. At ease, Mike.
I want to see him run into the administrative confinement wing of the jail.
This is gut wrenching. I'm not gonna lie. I can't watch this without getting a little emotional.
Yeah. Also,
you know,
if he does cry and run, he's going to end up in the yard.
then he'll really cry. You know, like he's like, you know, if I did stay with you, where would we go? Where, you know, it's all just like
wherever we want.
together is the best I can do. And it's like, my God, like, just rip my heart out of my chest.
Yeah.
The kid's conflicted. I think he does a good job of portraying that. Like, you know, on the one hand, he's known the grandfather the entire life, and there's a comfortability, in living that life. Obviously, I mean, look, he's still a kid, and what kid doesn't want to live in a big house and have all that money and convenience?
Why couldn't Lincoln Hawk be my dad? Like, I would have traded in a minute.
On the other hand, he sees that his father's a good dude trying to do right by him, and that maybe things are not as they seem.
It's like the trope. It's like the girl who has her choice of the really nice kid who's from the wrong side of the tracks with no money, or like the posh douchebag, and she chooses the posh douchebag just to throw us all for. You know what it is? It's Pretty in Pink, where Molly Ringwald still goes with Andrew McCarthy instead of Ducky.
Yeah,
that was bullshit.
I wanted to start doing lines from Long Duck Dawn, but that's 16 Candles.
Well, but that was such bullshit. John Hughes had to write an entire movie that fixes the ending called Some Kind of Wonderful. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen that, also from 1987, Some Kind of Wonderful.
See, that one I don't remember. I remember 16 Candles. I remember Pretty in Pink.
Oh, it's so much better than both of those. I'm not even going to lie to you.
I remember The Breakfast Club, because at this point, who hasn't seen The Breakfast Club?
That's
some guy on my Facebook who put that up a few days ago, actually.
Are you fucking serious?
I swear to God,
I said within walking distance of him, because I need
no,
to go punch him right in the throat.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have even been for that. It's because he's also never seen Silence of the Lambs.
Oh my! What is he? Is he foreign? Is he from Saudi Arabia?
Dude, there were times where we'd be hanging out at one of our friends' houses, mainly Jimmy Gaffio. Shout out to Jimmy, and we would just put on the Buffalo Bill scenes to laugh. That is the part where the dude nuts in Jodie Foster's eye and is like, "Look at the blood."
I want you to remember something, Michael.
The world meets nobody halfway. Remember that.
That has to be the hottest prison ever. Look at that sweat.
I think that's actually just glisten, because he's Stallone.
Stallone just naturally oozes masculinity.
He just magnifies and spits out brute. That's actually the secret to bottling it. It's made from
milk him.
Damn it, you beat me to it.
Oh my goodness.
He just secretes brute.
That grossed me out for some reason. Well, I don't know why milking him wasn't the gross.
I have nipples, Mark. Can you milk me? Now we get to the serious.
That was the gayest reach for a child I've ever seen.
I was going to say that was creepy.
That really was.
That was immediately come, let me show you to your dinnerware.
It was
There's just not any clothes on the bed, though. Exactly.
That guy wanted to show that kid his etchings.
Please, Michael, let me show you my fingernail collection. What? Nothing.
And now the kid's digging through random belongings of his mother. It's not creepy. That room looks like the room where a kid dies in a car wreck and they just never move home.
We are in old Vegas right here.
Stallone's cruising the strip, man.
You ever been to Vegas, Pat?
No, they won't let me in.
He found the Joker's jacket there. Purple. God. Why won't they let you into Vegas, Pat?
Oh, lots of reasons. It's probably best for all of us, honestly.
Did I tell you
I
this?
appreciate your feelings about your truck, but that's all I can do is cash $7,000.
Did I ever tell you the story about the double lap dance that I almost did? I tried to get in Vegas and that my mom messed up on me.
No, and once you turn the phrase "mom" in that sentence, I'm not sure you shouldn't be talking to a therapist about it.
I imagine her coming, barging into this bar, going, "Marcus, we need to go home now."
That's more or less how that went.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You need your own show.
I have my own show.
Why were all of them...
show.
Now, the kid just found all the letters addressed to him from Stallone, Why were they inside of a purse, inside of a drawer?
Well, I mean, if you're going to hide them, you're going to hide them good.
I don't understand why he hid them, though. Why not? If you never want... I mean, Robert Loggia has no reason to hold on to those letters.
I think that it's gone to the mother, but, like, did she never tell this kid about this? Why would you not tell your kid about this? Why would you... oh, gosh.
For this moment, Pat,
the implication was that the grandfather hid all those letters.
No, it's not. The mother hid them.
See, when I read the wiki, it comes across like the grandfather hid them. Excuse me.
Well, you're talking to me, and who are you going to trust about this movie, the wiki or me?
All right. Well, that's a fair point.
Like right now, he just asked, what are the odds on Lincoln Hawk? 20-1, pal. Real long shot. And he bets the $7,000 cash.
He'll get like $10,000.
In 1987, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I can't do math.
And now we see why he taught him to drive a truck. Because
as much as I love this movie, I want him to fall and the credits roll right there.
Why? How did he not get hurt on that fall?
Right.
Yeah.
Sickening bone crunch.
Like
like he doesn't roll with it or anything. So yeah, he would have totally, at the very least, like wrecked his shins.
Like I've hang dropped off of a fire escape, but that was maybe like 12 feet. I'll say generously. I was probably about 2 years older than him, and I landed in like a grassy patch, not concrete.
Of all these cars,
he's gonna take the pickup.
Yeah.
You see, because he drove a truck earlier in the movie. Get it?
Which one has worse gas mileage?
He's not thinking about that.
I know.
Into it now.
I just hate that kid that much that I want to pick on him.
That's fair, honestly. And now they're going to chase after in a limo because I know that I want to get there in a limo. And we get the solo flex bench press in action. Solo flex, the gem of the '80s. And there's a lot of real arm wrestlers that they show during this, but we're looking specifically for a guy in a yellow shirt.
Once again, the vicious of vicious and delicious, Scott Norton.
Well, you might change that opinion when you see his beautiful feathered mullet here. You guys chalked up.
Were Scott Norton and Ice Train a tag team at one point?
Yes, they were Fire and Ice.
Okay.
Mm.
Those are some awesome platform shoes.
Yeah.
There, oh my goodness.
Blaster.
Look at him.
And like sometimes immediately you want to write off like, oh, you know, you have to be super big and jacked to be good at arm wrestling. Not really. There's a lot of guys who aren't, but they're still just crazy good arm wrestlers. There's Norton again. There's Cleve Dean, the big fat man, who for a long time was the best arm wrestler in the world.
That looks like Kurt Russell on steroids.
All right, here we go. This is the best part of the movie right here, Act 3. It's all the arm wrestling. This is what we've been waiting for. You ain't shit! It's just cutaways of different guys wrestling, winning arm wrestling matches.
And screaming.
Again, this was filmed during the actual 1986 World Arm Wrestling Championships where Scott Norton walked away the winner after beating the legend Cleve Dean.
So, anyone else know what the guy playing Bill Hurley has done?
Bull Hurley.
Bull Hurley. Sorry, Bull Hurley.
He was
I've
in
been
an
meaning to
episode
say
of...
something to you the entire show, but I'm like, no, I pick on Mark enough.
Why, have I been saying Bill the entire time?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not good.
All right, then. Bull. Boop. By the way, I owe you an apology, Ronnie. I thought... because I honestly thought that it was pronounced Brubacher based on the spelling of the name, except that I was spelling it wrong. You're absolutely right. It is, in fact, Brubaker.
Do you go, when you pick up delicious donuts or bagels, do you go to the Bacher?
All right, so yeah, Rick Zumwalt, who plays Bull Hurley, I recognize him from an episode of Full House called The Bicycle Thief that aired during season 8. I think, though, if I'm not mistaken, he had a small role in one of the Schumacher Batman films. It might have been Batman Forever.
Or is it Shoemaker? Sorry.
No, that pretentious bastard says Schumacher.
Yeah.
Every chance you take. I don't know how the song goes.
Every day.
I feel like the scene though. I can't hear the music. I'm sure it's great, but I feel like it would have been better if this was played to "You're the best." You're the best.
Everything is better played to that.
It's Sammy Hagar. Winner takes it all.
Okay.
Winner takes it all. Loser takes a fall. Got to take it over the top.
Oh, that's the best.
Here's that one dude who looks like Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh my God, you're right. How is that not Jimmy?
He didn't murder anybody.
Well, we don't know if he murdered anybody. We know Jimmy did.
Yes.
Jimmy murdered somebody. Bill Clinton's a rapist. His wife may have been a murderer.
No may have about it.
I was teasing my dad about that yesterday, about the Hillary Clinton being a murderer thing. He very much resisted hitting me with his beef stroganoff.
That's impressive.
Impressive that he was going to hit him with the beef stroganoff?
Well, on both counts, that he was going to do it and that he resisted. Because I know that, one, I wouldn't think of using it, and two, when I did, I definitely wouldn't be able to resist it.
Right.
And this is the first time they announced that it's a double elimination tournament. Just to let you know.
So how does that work exactly? Because Stallone's going to lose one of these, but Bill Hurley is going to go into the finals completely.
Bill Hurley?
John Hurley is going to.
John O'Hurley?
Early Burley is going to. Burley Hurley.
It's the hurdy-gurdy man.
He's going to go into it having not lost a single round until he goes up against Stallone. So, how does that work exactly? If it's double elimination?
Because the whole thing is, it's like, if you are in the final, they don't want to do the final twice. So, whoever wins the final wins.
Gotcha.
Even though in real life, this isn't double elimination, that's just added in to basically
build up the drama. Right. But it's more of Stallone, fighting from underneath.
Yes. Whereas in real life, it's you lose, you go home. The only time I've been in something like a tournament that's competitive that has a loser's bracket was when I went hatchet throwing. And the guy who won the loser's bracket still lost to me.
I've thrown hatchets. I've been to a lot of Ren fairs in my time.
I used to do history reenactments where I threw tomahawks.
You were an engine?
Yeah, they have. I actually compete under the World Axe Throwing League rules. So I'm hoping to make the over-the-top equivalent of an axe throwing movie.
Pat, if I could find investors, I would totally produce that movie.
Pat, I want your life.
I would call it, Bury the Hatchet.
Yes.
It would be symbolic of not only that, but me repairing my relationship with my son.
These are the greatest interviews of all time, by the way.
I think we need to make this movie, Pat. Let's you and me talk offline. How we're gonna?
No, you're going to talk about it.
How we're gonna get Bury the Hatchet made? If we get this going in a few years, we can have my son play your son.
That'd be great. Oh God.
But
it's a real sport now because we got into the Arnold Sports Classic this year, and it's under the rules of the World Axe Throwing League, which unsurprisingly is based out of Canada.
Have you ever seen on ESPN or whatever the oh gosh, what are they? The lumberjack games.
Everything that's not a sport on ESPN.
They're called timber sports.
I used to love watching that, like log rolling and shit like that.
I was always into those.
That's what.
But I always thought.
See, that's what little boys need to be watching right now. We need to be turning off the Disney Junior and putting on the Timber Games.
I don't understand why they stopped. Like, AMC had Game of Arms, which they stopped doing because it was expensive to produce because of how they did it, which was silly. But then ESPN had the Arm Wrestling League on for like a season, and then they didn't do it again. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I gotta watch 18. I gotta watch 18 versions of First Take, but I can't watch a dude swallow a lit cigar and arm wrestle. Oh man, look at that 80s bouffant mullet. Jeez.
I was thinking about the white pants.
I mean, that just shocks me to the level of Blair on the last season of Facts of Life, where Lisa Whelchel at that point just became totally unbangable.
Did you see that Joe's going to be on Dancing with the Stars?
That who is?
Joe from the Facts of Life.
Nancy McKeon?
Yes.
Wow. I did not. I hope she loses, though.
Really? You weren't a fan of Joe, huh?
She did disavows ever being part of the Facts of Life. Didn't want to do the reunion movie. So I hate people like that who don't appreciate where their success comes from.
Huh. One of the broads from gosh, what was the name of the show? The one that Netflix redid with all Hispanics. One Day at a Time.
One Day at a Time?
Yeah, well, the oldest sister from the one that isn't Valerie Bertinelli just showed up in the last season of Orange is the New Black.
Mackenzie Phillips?
That's the one.
Yeah, she also claimed her father and her had a weirdly consensual sexual relationship. So I believe about half of what she does and none of what she says.
I can
and
vouch.
we see Link Hawk take his first loss to John Grizzly.
Well,
I was going to say we almost missed a important part of the movie.
Yes, I mean the man did just arm wrestle a guy who ate his own cigar. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I
true.
feel like that's
You're going to lose anybody.
I'm going to teach that to my son. Like if I can get him into wrestling, before each wrestling match, I want to have him walk up with a cigar in his mouth and then eat the cigar.
What you do is you start him on biting down on an Alka-Seltzer tablet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So make it look like he's foaming at the mouth, and then you go from there. Then you turn him onto blood capsules, and then, Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia.
Way to Vegas.
Out of all these guys in tank tops and mesh shirts, everything else, these guys in suits show up.
Very out of
we're
place.
We're here to enjoy the festivities, gentlemen.
Keep going about your day.
Mr. Cutler wants a word with you. What does he got to say? That word is whore. Your mother's a whore.
One of the greatest promos of all time.
And now they're actually meeting, and it doesn't appear that Robert Loggia has any armed men on Stallone for some reason, just Terry Funk.
Well, that's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to be a peace offering.
Your cat something to drink. This is maybe my favorite Robert Loggia role, other than maybe Gladiator.
Gladiator, the one with Brian Dennehy?
Yes.
That's another one we have to talk about at some point. That is a great movie.
Gavin won't forgive us if we don't have him on for that one.
Okay. Well, Gavin has to commit to a recording time and day.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, okay.
Casual Heroes,
Come on.
ladies.
Come have a drink. You can watch a movie on my forehead.
Robert Loggia.
You're a man who has nothing, so you have nothing to lose. Except for a child.
You deserted them.
You left them years ago, you worthless bastard!
I'm not through with you yet. And in walks Braun Strowman.
What?
I mean, we have to settle for Terry Funk instead of Braun Strowman, but considering that Terry Funk is Sly Stallone as Braun Strowman looks to normal-sized humans, that's okay.
Having Terry Funk is never settling. I really wanted him to fight Stallone with a ladder on his
I think had he been really thinking about things, he'd have thrown Stallone right off the deck. He's like, see that truck down there? Where? Ah!
I feel like maybe that's where Mick Foley got the idea to dive off the cell. Why didn't Terry just throw him off the top?
Hey, that's a good idea.
And then tells him to take his money after he offers him a blank check and a brand new top-of-the-line truck just so he can step out of the kid's life. Get back here.
When this
I'm
is
not through
over,
with you yet.
when this is over, I'm coming back to get him, and I'm bringing a Gatling gun.
What?
Mr. Cutler is talking to you.
I'm through talking.
And boom
Feel
goes
like-
the dynamite.
Feel like Terry Funk. There he goes. Feel like Terry Funk's gonna pull out like a barbed wire bat, or Sabu
Or
with a
a
barbed wire
chainsaw.
bat. Like,
You
come
know,
out of a
that's not
box. You're
chainsaw
over. Coming out of a fucking box.
Goddamn, anyone have a box is fucking over. Goddamn. Extra cheese, motherfucker. And now, to top off the cigar, he's drinking Valvoline.
I forgot about that. He's drinking straight up motor oil.
Do they still make Valvoline?
I don't know,
No, he's
but I'm
drinking
impressed and grossed out at the same time.
This referee looks as though he spends his spare time as a Talmudic scholar.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you put a hat on him, and come on. And there's Stallone face.
My
That's what I'm here to see.
wife
Come
tells me
on.
all the time that she thinks most of Stallone's movies are like the most retarded, and I'm pretty sure she's just judging them on his face.
Does she hate Bruce Springsteen because he makes the same face when he sings?
I'm not sure she knows who
Very
Bruce
true.
Springsteen. I'm not sure she knows who Bruce Springsteen is.
It's a good thing. And Bull Hurley puts away this dude like it's nothing.
Or is Bill, as we know him.
Right.
Good old Bill.
Good old Jeff Hurley. That guy who they says Carl Adams looks like he's somebody too.
How did the kid manage to escape way ahead of time and evade his grandpa, but not make it to the competition before him?
He
Well,
wanted
he's a
into
kid.
he wandered into a strip club. He tried to get two girls to give him a lap dance. Then his mom came and pulled him out by his ear. True
Right,
story.
then he got a fake ID that said Nick Papagiorgio and all was well. From Yuma, Arizona. He's in software.
Wow.
Have you guys
That's a
never
deep
seen
cut, dude.
Have you
That's
guys
a
never
deep
seen
cut.
Vegas Vacation?
Yes, but that's still a deep cut.
So Pat, do you remember? Maybe Ronnie, you do too. That shortly after this movie, they used to sell those arm wrestling pads with the handles.
Oh,
course.
Yeah.
Do you know they had an action figure line for this movie?
Yes, they did.
Do you own any of them, Ronnie?
Why wouldn't they?
Oh, they are highly sought after collector's items.
I wish I still had mine.
Like a cheap one out of the box, like on the cheap side of things,
Mm-hmm.
will cost you like $165.
If I can find a relatively inexpensive, over-the-top action figure, I'm getting it for Jonas for Christmas from Santa.
And they each have like an arm that you can lock with another figure's arm
Mm-hmm.
and wind ups in the back to let them like arm wrestle.
You know what would have been funny? If during like these quick cuts of arm wrestling, they cut to Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers.
You son of a
Dylan.
bitch.
You son of a bitch.
Shout out to my man just repping a Budweiser shirt there. Like that's what a man does.
That's
He
right.
knows what he's about. They're only missing somebody repping a skull shirt. Or Red Man shirt.
And look at Stallone with his pants pulled up to his navel to add some depth to his lats. Now he really looks small compared to everybody.
They broke his boxes with the ropes on them.
Like this dude he's arm wrestling is among the, I won't call him small, but leaner individuals.
Yeah.
and he looks just tiny compared to him.
There's that one lady that we just saw. They look completely bored with everything, or drunk.
Well, then somebody didn't do their job and open-handed her a while ago.
Wow.
Back it up, you son of a bitch. Dad! Come with me. Yoinks!
And just through the legs.
Welcome to
And
the
now-
Scooby-Doo portion of our evening.
I really want them to run into the hotel and go in opposite doors. Or, go in one door and come out the other.
That'd be perfect.
I need an arm wrestling table. That's just what I'm missing in my life.
You do.
Props if you just use it as a dinner table.
I mean, it's got cup holders like those elbow pads right there.
Oh, look at
It
that. A
just
quick win.
destroyed that guy.
Yeah, he fucking did the equivalent of a Goldberg gore.
So, like, for if you ever want an advantage arm wrestling, like where if you're not confident in your ability to arm wrestle, while we watch Bull Hurley bull his way over Carl Adams and rip his arm out.
Yeah, he just decimates this guy's arm.
Yeah. What you do is you really got to start quick, and what you do is you pull the other guy's arm inward to your body. Like you turn your arm where your palm is facing your chest.
I just want to know how many shirts that Stallone has with the necks cut out.
He sells that one on SlyStalloneShop.com.
All right.
What's it say?
Now everyone knows what to get for Christmas.
It says New York, and he sells that exact shirt.
I'm buying one.
I may already have.
When this is
I may have strategically cut the neck in that same spot.
when this is over, I need to go watch Rhinestone.
No, you don't.
No.
Only if you watch the parts where he sings.
What did you think of the movie that came out, I think a year or two ago, Pat, where it was Stallone and De Niro? That played the old
Grudge Match?
Yeah.
It was funny. Like, it wasn't anything I didn't expect it to be.
The one line of that movie, the one line I thought that was hilarious in that movie, he was just, it was something about like kicking, and it's like, if you were in, they say something about kicking with regards to MMA.
We had a name for guys who kicked in fights.
Girls.
Yeah. I was actually fairly surprised they let the UFC get in there and just get name called.
Yeah, it's free publicity. For the same reason that the UFC worked on that movie with Kevin, what's his face, the fat comedian.
Kevin James. But
Yeah.
they made that will make MMA seem hard and everything, and that's just yeah, this is for pussies and homosexuals.
Wow. This is the point where I wanted Stallone to open hand slap this kid.
But now the kid's motivating Stallone.
Yeah, but he's also a hypocrite.
He's 10.
I don't
Dude,
care.
look at the
Daniel
patron.
is the worst character ever.
Look at the patronizing face on Stallone. Like he's just he's listening to him, but he's just like, "Shut up before I bite your face."
I'm
This is
just
not a real
about-
hug, son. This is just to get you to shut up.
I'm not hugging you. I'm choking you out.
Dad, you're squeezing really hard.
Shh, I'll be over soon, Mike. The world meets nobody halfway, like your lung capacity.
Nice.
Hushaby. Oh, my Mikey, don't you cry. 5-time world champion Ralph Hurley.
Where did he have all of these shirts? Is that what his duffel bag contained? Just shirts?
There's nothing but shirts.
Well, he
And
did sell
suspenders.
his only house. The truck.
What do you think happened to all the pictures of the kid that were taped up in the truck?
They're in the duffel
I'll
bag.
give you extra $50 for the pictures of the kid. What?
Don't worry about it.
$50 is $50
They're now at Target. They're now Target practice at a peep show.
Oh, oh, you went so much further than I intended.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Blaster, did
oh,
you...
yes, sir.
Bull Hurley, you're known as the Blaster. Did you get that nickname from arm wrestling? Nope, got it while I was in prison. I'm thinking he got it while he was in prison.
I'm thinking he got it from the peep shows with the pictures of the kid.
So, changing the subject.
I take my hat and I turn it back, and it's like a switch, and it's like I become like a truck, like a machine.
All right, wise words from the obviously drunk or brain damaged Lincoln Hawk.
Neither way, you're wrong.
I just want to be in the room with the guys who produced this movie when it was over and it didn't make enough money. It's just
What
like,
do you mean the Stallone movie didn't make the millions back? We got the deal. Okay, make the poster for the next movie, sells the movie, then we start making the movie.
I don't understand why this didn't do good. Who doesn't love arm wrestling?
It's a classic.
The best like behind the scenes story from this movie is like while this movie's filming for Canon, they're making Masters of the Universe at the same time, and like so obviously like Dolph is He-Man and Stallone visits the set, and he's like, "Oh, what do you got going on here?" And then they tell him like, "Oh, this is Masters of the Universe," and like, and then, "Oh, you really what you got there? You got Dolph here? Yeah, okay, it's great." And they go, "Yeah, he's the lead." And Stallone goes, "Give him lines."
I must break you.
So Bull Hurley
said lines. They gave him words to say. I wouldn't call them lines.
So later this year, Pat, when we review Creed, that same week, Creed 2, we're going to be doing an on trial for Rocky 4.
Oh my God! How does that even go on trial? It's like trying to persecute OJ. You're just not going to win. The movie's got an airtight defense.
That's right. It ended communism.
He punched out Russia.
And right now, he's about to arm wrestle the legal system.
That's right. He's arm wrestling DCF right here. That's Department of Children and Families, for those that don't know.
I mean, thanks.
Go turd hawks. Like that would never happen at this competition. Just saying. Like nobody gets into fights or anything. It's just, hey, I want to win.
The eye of the tiger.
It's not an in-house like commentator on the PA system during it either.
I mean, as competitive as it is, what can you say about it? Well, they're wrestling arms now.
God, look at the biceps on. He looks much bigger in this scene. Like his arms do.
Which one, Ralph or
he's got a pump on. Like he definitely like hit the preacher curl machine before this, and just got worked up a good sweat to film this scene. And there's Springsteen again.
Dad, he stole my room.
God, that's the worst line in any movie ever. Like, I love Rocky V, but if there's a downfall to that movie, it's that moment.
Oh no, the best line of Rocky V is, "Come on, punk."
Pug. He doesn't say punk, he says pug.
Pug. Oh, okay.
Did I just ruin that for you?
It doesn't matter.
Still a terrible line.
I like the one where they're talking about how Miami needs gigolos. Paulie makes
This
everything.
is the longest arm wrestling match ever.
Come on, Pug, hit me and I'll sue. No, sue for what?
Push me, now shoot. Oh, wait a minute. And there you see the repositioning of the fingers.
Look at it. Look at it. How dramatic in slow motion.
It's
getting ready
beautiful.
for a top roll. And when he gets it going, there's only one direction he can go. To beat Bull Hurley, Sylvester Stallone will have to go over.
Better known as Ralph.
Look at the arms. Holy cow. Like, I know he's bigger now from HGH and everything, but good Lord.
Yeah.
He's starting to film Rambo 5 next week.
Yep.
And there it is.
Like, not only does he beat him, I'm pretty sure Bull Hurley bled out of his anus because of the faces he was making.
He's like, no, not the blaster.
But now they're cool. Bull Hurley raised his hand.
Oh, you got to be a good sport.
I thought he was just asking to get that strap off there.
I mean, you do want to get the strap off. I've never been in one, but I imagine it's not comfortable.
Because if you could change, and I could change, we all could change.
I shot all of Vietnam with arrows.
I killed an entire police department in the mud.
You know what you need? A good supply of body bags.
It's a wrecking machine.
What's more impressive?
They eat thunder and crap lightning.
Honestly, what's more impressive? Beating communism in the boxing ring or beating the American legal custody system on the arm wrestling table?
I would say the more relevant story today is this one. Honestly, like with parents are losing their children because they're letting them go play in the park unsupervised. I think you should have to arm wrestle your DCF caseworker to get them back.
He just doesn't know.
All right, let's do this.
He just doesn't nod. Like, okay, like I hate you, but you just won the arm wrestling championship, so it's fine.
Yeah, you've finally proven you're a winner. Son and Hawk. Mm-hmm.
Shut up, you little punk.
Touch me and I'll sue.
Hawk and Son. Hawk and Son.
Yeah, I've only said it 6 times, you little dimwit.
So is he going to go back to military school, or is he just like dropping out of school now to become a truck driver? What's happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you going to put the kid in school when you don't have a set address of any kind?
I'm going to homeschool him. What?
I'm going to road school him.
I'm going to teach him the way of the road. If he could learn how to drive a truck, he's like going to trade school.
Trucking is the future of America. And there we see our logo, Over the Top, one of the greatest movies of the 80s.
Take it higher.
You know, I
Fight
can't
fire.
help but think that this movie gave me unreal expectations about all truck drivers. As a kid, I was like, you know, my dad was a cool dude and he drove coal truck, you know, his buddies that drove were pretty cool. So, and I watched this movie and I thought, you know, they're all, you know, would go great lengths to break the law to get their kid back. And then, you know, when I was working at AT&T, I ran into a lot of truckers that just wanted to fight me because I wouldn't, quote unquote, fix their phone. And it's not that I wouldn't; it's because I couldn't. We didn't do that. We were, you know, we weren't a repair store. We were a sales store. iPhone launch. One guy came in and literally had to be kicked out, or they were going to call the cops because he wanted to fight me so bad over an incident about his phone 6 months prior.
Why didn't you just take him on? That's my question.
Oh, I was going to. They had to tell me no, or I would lose my job.
All right, that's when you say "damn you," and you beat the shit out of the guy, and then he shows up at your jail cell, willing to drop all the charges if you give up custody of your phone.
Or, and then I had to arm wrestle him.
All right. Folks, this has been a TV Party Tonight Extra. This was a lot of fun. You know, it's funny. A while back, one of our fans was writing me pretty consistently, like, when are you going to start doing some movie commentaries? And it took a while for us to get into the groove of things, but we're starting to do them more and more now. It helps that with Spreaker, I can do more than one recording a day, right, Pat? So, we've got Masters of the Universe lined up. We've got Bloodsport. We've got, a couple of movies in the can. We have one that's actually on schedule here. At the end of October. No, at the end of October, for Halloween. Actually, we're going to do it on November 1st, but it was for Halloween. We will be doing a commentary on the 1990 movie Space Invaders.
Wait, I don't even know if I remember that.
Yeah, this was.
I remember Invaders from Space.
This was pitched to me by. Oh gosh, what's Jesse's friend whose avatar is Deadpool? Ronnie,
I don't.
Josh something.
Say that again.
Jesse's friend whose avatar is Deadpool.
Justin.
Are we sure that there's a 1990 film called Space Invaders?
Yes, it's on YouTube.
I'm Googling it right now. I gotta look into this. Space Invaders.
Space Invaders. Yes, Justin Thomas. All right, so yeah, I believe he pitched that one to me. In any case, so I'll do my plugs last year. Pat, go ahead and hey, rumor has it you guys are recording this week. Is it true? Is it true?
We're still on schedule to record on Thursday a new edition of the Casual Heroes WrestleCast. I wouldn't bet on it, but that's the word on the street. So, if you go on over to YouTube, you can find the Casual Heroes WrestleCast available. We've recorded a whopping one episode 2 months ago that we were doing it again. That episode also does not even feature Gavin Napier. It's myself, Jed, and Chris. We recorded an episode before that, but apparently if you talk about good things done by very bad people, it comes off as not good. I.e. that Autobahn...
Can I say that if I had been the one producing that podcast, I would have put that up. I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, well, we live in the era of not over the top, so people tend to think that even if you say like someone accomplished something, that you're glorifying what they did as a whole. Like, you can't be like, well, OJ was a great football player. You glorify murder? Like,
those people are ridiculous. But go on.
Yeah, well, they make up the majority of the world that we live in, unfortunately, and these are the people in your neighborhood. So we recorded one episode. The other episode featured lots of quotes from Boogie Nights and references to the Autobahn painting, and I'll let you figure out the rest as to why we couldn't talk about it on air. Yeah, so we recorded that, but it's up there, and we're going to record again this coming Thursday. I haven't done any source material stuff in a little while. I haven't been doing a whole lot other than some TV party extras with Mark, so you can check those out as well, though, on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Lots of Mid-South goodness happening there.
And we will eventually do an entire podcast dedicated to the rise and fall of Mid-South / UWF. Hey, did you know that there's a YouTube channel that does these like 10-minute documentaries on wrestling territories?
I caught 2 of them. They weren't bad.
Yeah, I thought they were okay. They go by really, really fast, and I find myself having to go back and go through some of the details, but not bad.
Yeah.
All right, Ronnie Adams, tell them what time it is.
It is time for me to plug my show that kind of exists. It is called the Scream Boy Podcast. We talk about nerd culture, pop culture. I just dropped my recording instrument, so I do apologize. Can you all still hear me?
Yep.
Cool deal. Give me a second. I'm so sorry, gentlemen.
Wait, whoa. Oh, boy. While Ronnie's doing that, why is Disney making a TV remake of High Fidelity?
They are?
That makes me angry.
That's unfortunate.
We talk about pop culture, geek culture, the whole nerd culture. We talk about movies, video games, TV, comic books, whatever tickles our fancy. We have a ton of network exclusives up. When I say a ton, it's probably like 4. So we have a lot of good stuff coming. That is already up on the network here, and then you can also catch the show on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeart, the whole 9, Spotify. Just look up Scream Boy Podcast. We're right there. And we've had a bunch of guests that include the esteemed gentleman that I'm on the show with right now, Justin Thomas, Jesse Starcher, which, you guys aren't really guests. You're more like, co-hosts, all of you. So we're on every imaginable social media platform: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go ahead, Mark.
Instagram.
Thank you. So just on Facebook, look up Stream Boy Podcast, as well as Instagram. On Twitter, we are Stream Boy PR. So give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe, and we'll be back very soon. I'm actually in the last phase of planning the return of the Scream Boy Podcast to your ear holes, and that sounded a lot better in my mind than it did coming out of my mouth. So just stay tuned. Unfortunately, I do go to a lot of cons now because I do have a schedule that permits me. Unfortunately, Greensboro Comic-Con was postponed until January due to the not Hurricane Irma situation here in my part of North Carolina. There were plenty of parts that were devastated, so our prayers and and donations and everything go to them, go for them. But here in Greensboro, and the Triad area where I live, it was canceled due to, I guess you could say, planning ahead. So I will be going to that in January. They have postponed it until January because of the schedule of the venue. But I will be going to Fayetteville Comic-Con coming up in October, where I will meet the esteemed Tony Todd and one Tom Savini. So that will be really awesome. Look for a lot of pictures from that on Instagram. We'll be updating you on that. After that is more than likely North Carolina Comic-Con, Oak City in Durham, North Carolina. So just keep up with us on some con updates. I'll also be doing a one-day con here in Burlington. I won't be putting on, but I will be going. So that should be really cool as well. It's the first annual, I think it's called Holly Hill Comic-Con. So we do a lot of con updates on Instagram. So check us out. That's it.
All right. So here's the deal. It's Iron Fist week this week. Today on source material was The Immortal Iron Fist by Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction. Matt Fraction. Matt Fraction. We looked at the first. We looked at the first.
One more time.
As in how interesting of 1% that book was.
We looked at the first six issues of that series, which ties in pretty well to the second season of Iron Fist, which is what we'll be talking about tomorrow, myself and Robert Winfrey on TV Party Tonight. And then this Wednesday, myself and Jesse Starcher will be reviewing the new Therapy album. Next week starts an entire month-long look at some scary Halloween-themed comics. We'll start off with Dracula's Gauntlet, Deadpool, Dracula's Gauntlet, and then not so much having to do with Halloween, but because it fit well on the schedule, Ozark Season 2 will be a TV Party Tonight. The Metal Hammer of Doom is doing cover albums this month. Every week is a new cover album because it's Halloween, and Halloween means dressing up. So why not have a song dress up as a band, dress up as a different band by playing someone else's song? Get it? Covers.
Why wouldn't you do it as like one week you do like Alice Cooper, one week you do the Misfits, like.
Maybe we'll do that next year. This year we're doing cover albums. So we're starting off the week with Power Glove. Continue.
Not Pat Boone covering metal songs?
Not what?
You're not going to do the Pat Boone metal album?
Again, maybe another time, but not this month. Last week was all Predator. Was all Predator stuff.
Would you like to question him in his decisions even more, Pat?
We had Archie versus Predator. Robert.
You got another thing coming. Hey,
that's a great album. Robert Winfrey and I reviewed The Predator by Shane Black. The Corpaclani album had to be taken down because I advertised it on Twitter. Warner Brothers got a hold of it and said, "Take it down. You're violating copyright law again." So that one got.
Don't they know you're one of the pals?
Yeah, I've tried to tell them. I sent them a message in Hebrew. They didn't read it. In any case, Sean Comer and I put the Robert Rodriguez Predators on trial. So that's it. That's what we got going on. Check us out on the Radulich Broadcasting Network on Spreaker, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you download podcasts. For Ronnie Adams of the Screaming Boy podcast, and for the toxic and for Mr. Toxic Masculinity, totally 80s Pat Mullin, the punchy pugilist. I am your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. Be well, be safe, and behave.